everyone. I am Aral Esterio.
And I am Arlene J.R. Kayara.
I am Geraldine Arisma.
And we are the reporters of Group 2.
Program of input and output. Individual words of output data pass from a register to the input and output data register where they can be read by the appropriate input and output controller. Again, under program control, each instruction produces a single input or output. This method is known as program of input or output. It is most likely that there will be the multiple devices connected to the CPU. Since each device must be recognized individually, addressed information and must be sent with the information of input and output. The address file of the input and output instruction can be used for the purpose. An input and output address register in the CPU holds the address for transfer to the bus. Each input and output controller will have an identification address that will allow it to identify input or output instruction addressed to it and to ignore other input and output not intended for
Illustrations of concept of program I/O or the input and output. First, CPU executes input 24 instructions. Address 24 is copied to the I/O address register. Second, address 24 is recognized by the keyboard I/O controller. A read or write control line indicates that the instruction is an input. Third, a buffer in the I/O controller holds a keystroke, in this case ASCII68, the letter D. The data is transferred to the I/O data register. Fourth, from there it is copied to the appropriate accumulator or general purpose register, completing the operation.
The CPU places a control signal on the bus to indicate whether the transfer is input or output or a memory. Program input-output is used today primarily to read data from keyboards and similar devices, with occasional application to other simple character-based data transfers, such as the transmission of commands through a network controller. There is one important application for program input-output. Alternative methods of input-output use the input-output controller to control certain types of input-output operations independently from the CPU, using memory as the intermediate site for the data transfer. Program input-output is used by programs in the CPU to send the necessary commands to the input-output controllers to set up parameters for the transfer and initiate input-output operations.